From South Bend, Indiana, it's the ACC on ESPN. And from the campus of Notre Dame, it's the Fighting Irish facing top 10 Kentucky. The Wildcats are hot. They've won 7 in a row. It's also a very special night for our colleague, LaFonso Ellis. Fonz going into the Notre Dame Ring of Honor here tonight. Hi, everybody. Dave O'Brien, delighted to be joined by the legendary Jay Billis here courtside. Jay, great to see you as always. And this has been quite a good rivalry over the years. Last year was a terrific game.
Well, Notre Dame came into last year's Kentucky game 1-2, and they wound up winning at Rupp Arena. They had a 24-point lead, hung on to win. They're looking for a repeat performance. And if they do that, they're going to have to rebound because Kentucky's the #1 rebounding team in the country.
Takes us to our spotlight, brought to you by the great folks at Guinness, of course. And that's Oscar Tshiebwe and Dane Goodwin.
Well, for Kentucky, Oscar Tshiebwe is the nation's leading rebounder. He averages 15 points a game, but also averages 15 rebounds per game. 6.5 of those are on the offensive end. He's a very intelligent rebounder, positions himself very well, and uses great effort on the glass. He averages more offensive rebounds than any other teammate averages total rebounds. That's how dominant he's been. And for Notre Dame, Dane Goodwin has been their best and most consistent player throughout this season. Averages 14 points per game, an excellent rebounder, and can operate out of the post or on the perimeter. Moves really well without the ball, leads them in three-point field goals, makes a couple per game. He's going to have to find some openings against this excellent Kentucky defense.
Excellent team all the way around, hitting 48% of their shots. So a giant upgrade from a season ago when the Wildcats really couldn't make shots at all.
Yeah, they really struggled to score last year, but a much better shooting team, a better free throw shooting team. But the key really is, Dave, get a shot every time down. Even if you get a shot and miss it, Kentucky has a good chance of grabbing the offensive rebound.
Sure do. Well, Notre Dame nearly blew all of a 24-point lead in Lexington last year in this game. They hung on to win it when a Kentucky player missed a jumper in the last 10 seconds of the game. So they put away that victory for the first victory at Lexington. We are set to go. Very nice crowd expected. And a very special halftime ceremony. You had a chance to visit as well with the new football coach at Notre Dame.
Marcus Freeman, what a impressive gentleman he is, and I think he's going to do a fabulous job with the Notre Dame football program.
Cats riding that 7-game winning streak following their season opening loss to Duke, which you called at Madison Square Garden. Wheeler will give it up here. Tshiebwe with his first touch. Here's Brooks and on target as he buries the first shot.
Keon Brooks, a much improved shooter. In the first couple exhibition games, he launched a lot of threes, but he is vastly improved from last year to this year.
Notre Dame, our Kay Jewelers starting lineup. You talked about Goodwin. Atkinson Jr. is a guy who can knock him down. You talked about Ryan, too, as a guy who had to make shots today.
He's got to play well. Cormac Ryan transferred in from Stanford, an excellent shooter, but only shooting 28% from three. He's a much better shooter than his numbers suggest.
Grady on the drive, flips it up there, and that will drop for Kellen Gray, the 6'5" grad out of the great city of Boston, Massachusetts.
Went to Davidson, scored over 2,000 points for Bob McKillop at Davidson.
Atkinson Jr. slams on the brakes.
Notre Dame running a different offense than they did earlier in the year. A little more patterned movement to try to get better shots.
Blake Wesley there, the freshman. He's a South Bend kid. So friends and family on hand. A long-range shot. That will not go. And the rebound picked up by Notre Dame. They want to push it. Here's Ryan all the way through. Boy, a tough angle, but he made it.
Well, a smart play by Cormac Ryan. Xavier Wheeler took the jump shot. Notre Dame's not going to mind that. He is not a great shooter, although he leads the nation in assists. But Cormac Ryan had Blake Wesley on his left, but decided to keep it. Smart play by Ryan. Good start.
Ty Washington Jr., 6'3" freshman. He's averaging 15 points per game. He can distribute as well. Shot clock at 9. Wheeler through the paint. And back out for Tshiebwe. He can knock that shot down.
Well, he's a good mid-range shooter. That was not his game at West Virginia, but he's expanded that range out to about 16, 17 feet.
He said in the preseason, I want to average 20 rebounds a game. What a giant failure. A little over 15 right now. But what a season he's having.
Sounds like a pipe dream, but he is a great rebounder. And Notre Dame, they have not shot the ball well this year, but they are shooting the ball well out of the gate against Kentucky.
Wesley, the rookie, to bury that. They take an 8-6 advantage. Inside, slamming on the brakes. Back outside now for Brooks, and a two-pointer. That won't drop. And the Irish crashing the glass.
Good box out by Paul Atkinson against Oscar Tshiebwe. He's had a lot of tough assignments. Kofi Coburn against Illinois. Now Oscar Tshiebwe is going to have to guard Trace Jackson Davis when the Irish play Indiana. That is not the Ivy League, Dave.
Oh, it's not. Atkinson gives it up. Shot clock to 9. Goodwin into the lane. A little fall away. And a bit too strong. And Brooks there for the rebound. Cats just killing teams on the glass. Out rebounding opponents 46-27. An offensive foul that'll go against Wheeler.
Mike Bray has put his freshman, his best athlete, Blake Wesley, on Xavier Wheeler. Wesley is a lot taller and has a long reach, trying to bother Wheeler a little bit with that length. Discourage some of those passes, maybe get a deflection here or there. But that was a great play by Wesley to pick up that charge.
Mike Bray, the winningest Notre Dame coach in the history of the basketball program here. Bryant averaging 9 points, about 4 rebounds a game. He can be a real factor. Atkinson Jr. will spin inside, and it won't drop for him. Brooks will take another rebound. He had 22 points, 8 rebounds against Ohio, so he is very capable of a big game.
Well, good job by Ryan trying to blow up that dribble handoff to Ty Washington.
Ty with a shot and nice touch, getting 15 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists a game.
He is a bucket getter, Dave. I mean, he struggled in his first game against Duke, got 9 points, took a ton of shots, but since then he's been in double figures every game.
Good effort there, but mishandled by Notre Dame and a turnover. We are tied 8-8 here in Notre Dame. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by PlayStation. Play has no limits. Early going, tied at 8. Of course, our hearts and prayers go out to all those affected by the devastating loss of life and property in the state of Kentucky following last night's tornadoes, which the governor termed the worst in the state's history. Of course, nothing represents the great state of Kentucky quite like the Kentucky Wildcats. And all of us with Kentucky and ESPN want you to know our thoughts and prayers are with them today. You can see it etched on the faces of Coach Cal and the players visiting the grottos here at Notre Dame and lighting candles for all of the victims. Here's Cal's tweet earlier today. We are devastated this morning seeing the images of what's happened in Western Kentucky and across our state. We cannot imagine what you're going through. We stopped by the grotto on the way to shoot around to pray for everyone affected by last night. You are in our hearts.
Well, so many areas in Kentucky were hard hit, especially Mayfield, Kentucky. Just devastating. Also through Arkansas and Illinois.
Yep.
So sad for Kentucky, and we hope everybody is picking up the pieces.
By the way, the University of Kentucky and the basketball program are putting together a fund drive. No official details on that yet. It's forthcoming in the next day or so, but they're going to get very actively involved and hope that everyone else does too to support those victims as best they can. Tshiebwe out top here for Washington.
Kentucky really looking to turn the corner and try to get into the paint, but there's Ty Washington. We talked about him being a bucket getter. He is playing very well right now. Just a shot-making guard that can play on the defensive end as well. He took 63 charges in high school.
The coaches admit that he plays with a serious chip on his shoulder. Wesley with the stop. Ryan with a shot clock at 8. Swung inside. And they're going to wave that off as we go back to Ty a moment ago.
Well, Ty Washington can put it on the deck, but he can also pull up and shoot it. Goes right between the legs with a little step back. Just beautiful execution and completely under control for the freshman. The first player to be an Arizona native to play for Kentucky.
Out of Phoenix. Tshiebwe zips the pass out for Grady. Wheeler trying to penetrate. Grady will fire.
What a rebound.
Brooks has been that man on the glass early, and a whistle 14-16 to play here in the first half.
Well, Keon Brooks is an excellent rebounder and a tremendous worker. He's only averaging about 5 rebounds a game this year. He averaged more than that last year, but he's playing with Oscar Tshiebwe now, who's been a vacuum cleaner on the glass. He gets just about every rebound.
15 rebounds a game. Nobody has averaged 15 rebounds a game over a full season since Larry Smith got 18 a game in 79-80. Tied up here, and it will go the other way. It'll be Notre Dame basketball.
And Tshiebwe, people will say rebounding's all about effort, and effort is a big factor. But Tshiebwe's a really intelligent rebounder. He gets to the other side of the rim. When the ball comes from the right, he's going to get to the left. And he positions himself very intelligently. So his positioning is as big a factor as his effort, if not bigger.
Notre Dame has gone about 4 minutes since they last scored.
Well, their offense has slowed down a bit. They're not moving the ball quite as much in this new ball screen continuity they're running.
Brooks gave it up late in the shot clock. Ryan driving the baseline, and it drops in.
He also got fouled.
The whistle. Washington Jr. on the run. Wheeler again. Little contact there. They are letting him play.
They're just having to shoot over the bigger Cormac Ryan. Got a switch now. It's Tshiebwe on Ryan. He had to take that on.
Is Goodwin to operate. Very effective outside as well.
Good fake.
Great pass for the corner. Krzyzewski could not knock it down, however, had a great open look. Brooks, and that's going to be a blocking foul on Ryan.
Cormac Ryan has done a good job with ball fakes. Just a nice rip. Got hit as he went up, but still able to finish that play. He's off to a very good start in this game, and that's what Notre Dame needs, is for Cormac Ryan to be a threat out there. He is tough, puts his body on the line, and an excellent shooter that just hasn't shot the ball as well as he's capable. He's 8 of 29 from 3 coming into this one before he knocked down his first one.
Did lead the Irish with 16 in a close loss to St. Mary's in the Maui Invitational. Kentucky by 2 and the ball. Davion Mintz, a 6'3" grad out of Charlotte, now into the contest for Kentucky.
Mintz was the leading scorer for Kentucky last year. It's the first time Cal's had a returning scorer come back, a leading scorer.
We talk about all of the returning minutes, not necessarily Kentucky minutes, but all the experience that this Wildcat team has. And what a change of pace as that one's out of bounds with 12:22 to go here in the first half.
It's one of the most experienced teams Kentucky has had. Now, obviously, in years past, back in the 60s and 70s, players didn't play as many games as they do now. There was freshman ineligibility. Great slip to the basket by Paul Atkinson. Kentucky tried to jump the pass out to the right side, to the short side of the floor, and Atkinson very intelligently just cut to the basket for the easy layup.
And you see why he's making 61% of his shots. So Notre Dame able to hang in early. That's a good sign for the Irish. Another touch for Tshiebwe, and off the window, so smooth.
He's really improved his low post game. He shows great poise in the post, takes his time. When he was at West Virginia, just a power player, an excellent rebounder, but he's really improved his game all around.
Jumping inside, Atkinson, and count that. That'll be goaltending. So we'll take the break.
Undefeated.
Never lost.
Undefeated. Well, that's going to be an expectation here at Notre Dame.
Absolutely.
What kind of coach do you see yourself being as a head coach?
I would hope people would say I'm a player's coach. What does that mean is that I love my players and that I know that the success we'll have will be because of the players. And so I take that with the utmost compliment.
And you're used to managing numbers. You've got 6 kids. So from 1 to 6, what are your favorites?
Oh, definitely the youngest. The youngest, so because he's the newest, I haven't had time to. He's only 3. He turned 3. I haven't had time to really make sure he got on my nerves too bad. But the girls always steal your heart, right? It's the girls. We have 2 girls, and they steal your heart, and so they definitely are my favorite, and the boys know that.
Every great coach has a depth chart, even with the kids. 94 feet.
I got to tell you, at least he will not shy away from controversy. First of all, I can't believe you asked that question. More so, I can't believe he answered it.
I figured he'd duck the question. Mine's a tie for last.
I'm telling you, that shows you something.
What an impressive person he is.
Yes, he is. Mintz with a miss it. You know, he was on the court just moments ago with the microphone. You can tell already the crowd loves him. Goodwin straight on with a triple.
Well, right now, Kentucky is letting Notre Dame shoot from the catch spot. You have to make Dane Goodwin put the ball on the deck. He's still dangerous, but not as dangerous.
Mintz back out for Washington. A floater in the lane. Nicely done.
He's got everything and getting better and better. Averaging 15 points a game, knocking down threes. He can really play.
You saw him as a cold shooter in the opener. Great fake there by Atkinson. He's going to swing it for the corner, and Hub gives it up for Wesley, and he airmails it.
Prentice Hub needed to take that shot.
Now here's the action in between our commercial break, and coming out, and the crowd gave him a huge, very lusty ovation.
35 years old. And how about that? Undefeated against Michigan. He wasn't slow answering that question.
No, he was not. Announced the head coach on December 3rd. Promoted from defensive coordinator. He will be the coach for the Irish in the upcoming Fiesta Bowl. Kentucky by 1. The swing for Mintz comes in averaging 8 points a game. Here's Grady and Hub snatching the rebound. They want to move it quickly.
Notre Dame's guards have done a good job sticking their nose in there to rebound on the defensive end. Give Paul Atkinson some help against Oscar Tshiebwe.
Ryan looking to operate. Up tried to give it up and picked off on a great deny defense by Tshiebwe.
Really have to keep contact with Oscar Tshiebwe. If he's able to break that contact and get around in front, those are going to be turnovers.
And Blake Wesley, the freshman, will commit the personal, his first. Back to that steal moments ago by Tshiebwe.
Post play is all about contact. When the offensive player gets contact with the defensive player, you've got a great opportunity to get an angle and seal off. But Oscar Tshiebwe is smart enough to break that contact so he can move, get around in front, and knock that pass away.
As a 7'5" wingspan, puts it to outstanding use.
Well, he leads this team in steals as well as scoring, rebounding, offensive rebounding, block shots. Other than that, he hasn't done anything.
Not too much. Shot clock down to 8.
Good screen.
Mintz with a pull-up pop and drains it.
Leshevsky's got to be up there on that screen. He's trying to give some room so he can pick up that roll, but if you let a ball handler come off that easy, that's going to be 2 points every time.
Kentucky averaging 83 points per game, shooting 48%, only 33% from three-point land to this point in the season.
A lot of dribbling for Notre Dame on this possession.
Wirtz, Krzyzewski inside, couldn't convert. Taken away by Tshiebwe again. And picked off by Wesley. In for the slam. Well, that had some outstanding style points.
Just a smart play by Wesley. Kentucky trying to advance past it. He just read it like a defensive back. Marcus Freeman might want to give him a call.
Wheeler, nothing there. Mintz caught it. Shot clock down to 5. Toppin slams on the break. Shot clock down to 1. Couldn't get that one to go. Hopkins, but back up and in for 2.
Toppin just quicker to the ball. Saw it was missed. Went after it. Got an easy 2.
Transfer from the University of Rhode Island. We were watching him with a dunking display in the pregame. That was something to see.
Yeah, Kentucky definitely won warm-ups.
Ryan to the paint. Nice kick. And up and in for 2. Leshevsky right there on the baseline.
Smart fake by Leshevsky.
Toppin steps into a long one. And an excellent look. Controlled by the Irish this time.
Well, another great job by the Notre Dame guards. Trey Wirtz was able to knock that away it looked like, from Tshiebwe to keep him from getting another offensive rebound.
So Notre Dame with a chance to take the lead here. Under 7 minutes to go in the first half here at South Bend, Indiana.
Notre Dame running a play they call loop.
Backing Olszewski. Got himself a good look. Can't deny that. And he hits 38% from three. Here's Mintz. That glances away and works there for the rebound. He's bottled up in the corner. And the Irish with another opportunity to grab the lead. Kentucky has missed their last 7 threes.
Well, Kentucky's been settling a little bit for jump shots. Early on in the game, they're getting a piece of the paint. Not as much the last several possessions.
Mintz with the rebound on the weak side. And here come the Cats. 7-1, riding a 7-game win streak. Tshiebwe, the biggest reason for that. Long one coming, but that clangs away. Ugly shot there by Wheeler. Here's Ryan in transition and picked off by Toppin. Wheeler pushing the tempo. Again coming in averaging 8.5 assists per game. And Ryan with the rebound.
I don't think that's the shot by Bryce Hopkins early on in the clock that John Calipari wanted to see. Worked so hard to get the ball back, then pitch it away in one shot that they can get any time.
Here's Wirtz. He's been cold from the field so far. He's only at 28% from three-point land. Tshiebwe with a dribble down. Hasn't missed many here in the first half, but he misfired there. Kentucky has missed 5 consecutive shots. Ryan. Wirtz, the junior out of Charlotte, on net for a three.
Xavier Wheeler went under that little ball screen action. The screen wasn't actually set, but when he went under, Trey Wirtz just pulled the trigger. That's exactly what he wanted to see. Had plenty of time to squeeze that one off.
Already had 9 lead changes now in this contest.
Boy, Notre Dame really competing.
Mintz deep in the corner. Shot clock to 7. He's directing traffic. Down to 3 now. Inside Tshiebwe. Tough shot for 2.
When he gets that low post position and is able to operate, Blake Wesley came on the baseline side to try to knock it away. But Tshiebwe is a load down there for either Atkinson or Olszewski.
6'9", 255. And a bump and a foul by Mintz. 4:04 to go here in the first half.
Kentucky trying to push the pace, but Blake Wesley doing a great job of reading the Panthers' eyes, taking it the other way for the easy 2. Notre Dame right in it.
Tomorrow afternoon, we're featuring this top 6 college basketball matchup. Should be a great one. Number 6 Villanova in Waco to take on undefeated number 2 Baylor at 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 Central on ABC. Number 1 Purdue's lost Thursday night. That means Baylor would probably jump to that top spot certainly with a win, and Nova would certainly jump a few spots if they get the W. So looking forward to that one.
18 straight wins at home for Baylor, led by L.J. Cryer and Kendall Brown. Kendall Brown's an outstanding freshman. Then James Akinjo transferred in from Arizona. He's leading that Baylor team in assists. That's going to be a real challenge for an excellent Villanova team. Saw them the other night against Syracuse. And that is an excellent passing team, really tough team led by Justin Moore, Colin Gillespie. That'll be a terrific game.
Notre Dame with the basketball and locked up with Kentucky here at South Bend, Indiana. Great to have you with us, Dave O'Brien and Jay Billis. Long one on the way. Hub can't hit it. And tip to the corner, and Grady corrals it for the Wildcats.
That was a good back cut that set up that shot by Prentice Hub. It was wide open. And Kentucky right now, Dave, 0 of 9 from three-point range. They are very good inside the line. They've got to keep getting in there, get to the rim.
A little stumble there by Washington. He hit the deck. Wheeler threads the pass inside for Tshiebwe, and the hook is good.
That's all she wrote. When he gets 2 feet in the paint and gets the ball, you can count that.
transfer from West Virginia, was making 66% of his shots. Among all the other things he does so well, like this, playing defense. Here he comes for a thunderous slam.
He makes 100% of those. Just great hands and activity by Oscar Tshiebwe.
Wow. I mean, there has not been a better defender on the floor in this game.
He's been excellent. Got that steal in the post where he rebounds, guards the post, he guards out on pick and roll. He's very active.
Active again. And another theft by Tshiebwe. He's everywhere.
Well, it's a great steal, but a horrible pass by Ryan.
Pull up won't go for Brooks, who's had a very good first half for Kentucky, but can't hit that. They lead at 28-24.
All Ryan needed to do was take one dribble toward the baseline. He'd be able to feed the post for a layup.
Now, Prentice Hubb's a guy that you and I were talking about before the game. He's got to be a factor for this team. He's been an enigma this season.
Yeah, he's been struggling. He's an all ACC guard. That last play is the Prentice Hub we're used to seeing. Decisive. He had 8 turnovers against Texas A&M. He's only had 8 the rest of the year.
Alley-oop and in for 2 as Brooks will hit it.
Boy, anytime you help up against Kentucky, they are throwing that ball to the rim. Brooks coming from the left corner.
6'7" junior from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Near travel there, but they get away with that one perhaps. As Hub held the floor, 1:32 to go in the half. Hub will lift another one, and that one was ugly. Nice save on the baseline there by Atkinson to keep it alive for Ryan, but he can't connect.
Not going to get a better opportunity than you can off an offensive rebound.
So approaching the final minute of what has been a very entertaining first half here at South Bend.
It's an important last stretch. Kentucky can stretch this lead out a little bit going into halftime if they're efficient.
Notre Dame wins that battle.
Boy, good strip by Ryan.
And now Hub will get a timeout. 56.1 to go. Oscar Tshiebwe certainly has put on a show here in the first half of the Wildcats.
He's done it, Dave, on both ends of the floor. Out in passing lanes, getting that right arm out there for the easy 2. And Mike Ray with the timeout looking to go 2 for 1 and trying to stop this above the rim score. He's like you, Seth, a huge problem.
Our first NBA Saturday primetime matchup coming up on ABC. Step in the Western Conference leading Warriors taking on the first game of a 5-game East Coast trip against the Sixers. Our coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 8 o'clock Eastern. So Notre Dame with it. 40 seconds before the break. Downstairs for Atkinson as he lays in 2.
Good job to duck in by Paul Atkinson. Back to a little man-to-man. They're really laying off of Xavier Wheeler.
Brooks launches, not there for him. Goodwin with a big rebound.
I don't know why he'd want to shoot it that early. I mean, that's giving Notre Dame 2 possessions here. If Kentucky had taken it down to the end of the clock, they had enough time for an offensive rebound, but not enough time for Notre Dame to get what they want.
Wirtz trying to penetrate. The kick out on the move. Wesley back into the corner. 1 second to get it off. Wirtz can't hit it. And that's how the first half comes to an end with Kentucky in front by 2. A very tight one. Tshiebwe with 12 and 6 along with 3 steals. He has been outstanding. So we're at halftime. Kentucky and Notre Dame battling it out as we go to Kevin Connors and Seth Greenberg with the Jeep halftime. Welcome back to South Bend, Indiana. We've got a good one here. Kentucky, number 10 in the land, leading Notre Dame by 2. Dave O'Brien and Jay Billis with it. Jay, hardly any fouls in that first half.
Yeah, only 6 fouls total, 3 apiece. And Kentucky didn't go to the free throw line at all in the first half. Kentucky 15 of 21 from 2-point range, 0 of 10 from 3. the Wildcats have to do a better job of getting into the paint and putting Notre Dame into a position to foul. But give the Irish credit. They did a great job, especially with their guards, of rebounding on the defensive end. Rebounds just about even. I think Kentucky got one more, but only 2 second chance points for a Kentucky team that's out rebounding their opponents by over 19 per game. That's a great job by Notre Dame on the glass.
That, of course, is because of Oscar Tshiebwe, and he's off the races again, closing in on another double-double.
They had 12 points, 6 rebounds in that first half. Also had 3 steals. That's a good game for a lot of good players. But any time that Kentucky got the ball inside to Tshiebwe, he finished the play, knocked down a couple mid-range jumpers, got a couple feet in the paint where he's unstoppable, and then he was excellent on the defensive end. And for Notre Dame, Cormac Ryan got off to a good start. He had 7 points, 4 rebounds in that first half. But one of the keys, Dave, is Notre Dame got the tempo that it wanted. This has been a half-court game. But the key is going to be the guards continuing to help the big guys on the glass. All 5 guys in white have to continue to rebound as they did in the first half.
You talked about Kentucky's difficulty shooting the three. 0 for 10. Doesn't get a lot uglier than that. 15 out of 21 on the 2-point shot. So very close game as we move into the second half. Had a wonderful halftime ceremony for our colleague and a great Notre Dame player, of course, LaFonso Ellis. He went into the Ring of Honor. He'll be our guest here courtside in just a bit. Can't wait for that. Wheeler with the basketball to get it started here for Kentucky in the second half. And a battle and a foul as Wheeler reached in and committed a personal. And he'll pick up his second.
Blake Wesley was playing 5-6 feet off of Xavier Wheeler, basically begging him to shoot. And Wheeler took him up on it with that little 17-foot jumper. I still don't think that's the shot that Kentucky wants in this game. They want to get the ball deeper into the paint. If they drive and kick for a 3 or a jumper, that's a lot different than what they just took.
Wildcats at 7-1. Notre Dame just 3-4. Ryan dumps it down for the dunk for Atkinson.
Boy, just a terrific job to set a screen and roll, and a great find by Cormac Ryan. This continuity offense is much better, I think, for Notre Dame.
Tshiebwe doesn't mind the contact at all. He likes it that way and drops in 2.
I think if you're John Calipari, it might be worthwhile telling your team, if Oscar doesn't touch the ball, your scholarships are in jeopardy.
Good things happen when he does. Leschewski launches. Got it! A 3-pointer.
Just a little pick and pop on the left wing, and Leschewski did not hesitate.
Great athletic family. Bounced inside for 2 more for the big guy. Tshiebwe for the basket.
That ball came in from up top where Tshiebwe had the angle to the basket against Atkinson. That is nearly unstoppable.
Wesley off for Goodwin, their top scorer, averaging 14 for Notre Dame, and off the back iron that time by Wesley. Is Brooks with a touch. They double up on him. Tshiebwe in the paint, kind of an awkward pass. He was off balance, fumbled on the baseline, but a whistle. And a foul against Notre Dame.
They got Goodwin. Goodwin a little late getting down there to try to knock that pass away. When you can see just a little screen roll to the basket with an open side, a little late getting over. Xavier Wheeler trying to stop it from the weak side. Well executed by Notre Dame because of the movement of ball and man.
Goodwin's second foul.
Look how far Wesley is playing off of Wheeler. He's a free defender right in the middle of the lane.
Brooks working on Leschewski, stumbled a bit in the lane, got away with it, and a foul again against the Irish, and that has them howling inside the arena.
Boy, how do they miss that? That's a clear walk. Watch his pivot feed here as he spins. That's a walk.
No question about it.
I mean, it's not even close.
They get the foul on Atkinson to send Brooks to the line, where he makes 72%. Wesley will step out now for the Irish, and they'll bring on Prentice Hub. He's had some rough games so far this season. As you mentioned, he was 3 for 14 against High Point, 1 for 8 from 3 in that game. But a guy who can get very hot, a scramble for that. And it'll go the other way, and that'll be Notre Dame basketball. John Calipari now in the top 10 again, 9-16 last year. Obviously, so far things have been dramatically better offensively for the Cats.
Just more weapons this year.
Yeah.
Evan Wheeler able to push the ball up court. Good cut.
Goodwin draws the foul. Hit on the play by Wheeler. He'll pick up his third.
That's that continuity offense. The back cut from the wing, and then you replace up. Prentice Hub comes up from the corner, and then they'll go into a little ball screen action if Hub winds up catching it. But any time that Notre Dame is cutting, they are cutting hard in order to get a layup, and that's going to open things up on the perimeter.
Goodwin outstanding at the line, 94%. Comes from a hugely successful athletic family. His dad, the all-time winningest coach at Capital University, which is in Ohio. Sister Addie, a volleyball star at Dayton.
Well, Goodwin had a really good game against Texas A&M. He put 18 on the Aggies, and one of the only Irish that played well in that loss at Boston College.
Yeah, they got blown out by BC. BC expected to finish last in the ACC. Tough pass, but guess what? To the right man, Tshiebwe for 2 more.
He's not going to be able to stop that. If you let him get post position down with 2 feet in the paint, that's a bucket, a foul, or both.
Leshevsky way outside. Wirtz with a quick step. A blow by and draws the foul. That's on Washington Jr. with the personal.
Those baseline drives are available because they've lifted up this defense. There's just a little screen roll, and Leshevsky tried to pick him up, but Atkinson worried about the ball instead of worried about Tshiebwe. Couldn't get back to him in time, and that could have been a 3-point play.
Trey Wirtz at the line. He is now 8 of 11 for the season. May recall him hitting a game-winning 3 at the buzzer to beat Wake Forest in March in the ACC tournament.
Well, he's from Charlotte, North Carolina. His dad, Langston Wirtz, is an excellent journalist, covers a lot of high school basketball. And Trey started his career out at Santa Clara, where he was all West Coast Conference freshman team, playing for the Broncos.
Locked up at 37.
A little 2-3 zone right now for Notre Dame. Just give a little different look to Kentucky.
Brooks with a turn in the lane for 2.
Smart play to get it into the middle, and no hesitation from Keon Brooks.
He's had a nice game so far.
He's a good player. I'm not sure there's a more improved player on this Kentucky roster than Keon Brooks from last year to this year.
You talked about how hard he worked from last year to this on his shooting. Atkinson.
Got to switch. How about to take this on?
He does with a long shot. And Kentucky crashing the glass. Is Washington quickly. From the corner, long one. That won't drop by Mintz.
What a great rebound by Goodwin.
And tiptoeing all the way through Wirtz for 2 on the run out by Notre Dame.
That was all created by Dane Goodwin. That was a great defensive rebound. Back to man now for Notre Dame.
Tshiebwe. Shot clock to 6. Here's Grady. In and out. Boy, was in the cylinder.
Boy, well defended by Goodwin.
39-39. This rivalry has been spicy. Last year included. Notre Dame took a 24-point lead, nearly blew it. Hung on in the final seconds to win in Lexington. Here's Hub, will step back. No.
It was a good move. His shot has just been off.
Washington gets himself a shot.
Boy, how many challenge shots has Kentucky taken in this game?
Goodwin can't hit it. Second effort, Leshevsky on the way. Nothing falling right now.
Well, Notre Dame has had some good opportunities. That offensive rebound kickout is so difficult for any team to defend. That is the best time by far to take a three.
And a whistle with 14:21 to go. And the foul will go on Prentice Hub of the Fighting Irish. Hoping to catch up with Alfonso Ellis. Just had an amazing honor, and there it is in the rafters here at Notre Dame. They'll be with us courtside in just a moment.
That looks bigger than Diggers.
Inside the building. How does it feel when you look up there and see that?
Surreal. Yeah, surreal. It's one of those interesting things is, you know, we're paid to speak, Jay, but one word, even awesome, overwhelming, just don't do it justice. And the outpouring of love and support from my family, my friends, my teammates, all the people who I work with, it's just been absolutely incredible.
And having so many of your teammates back to honor you is so great. It's great to see all those guys.
Mintz chasing this one in the corner. I can't imagine what it feels like when you're standing on the court and there's so much love generated your way, but we know you so well. You're such a humble guy. You're the definition. Is there anything about that you'd rather it just speed up so you can go sit down and watch the rest of the game?
Yes, indeed. It's very awkward and uncomfortable, yet it's important to me, and I talked to Jay about this the other day when we were doing our podcast. It's important to me. They're not allowed to show that one, by the way. There was no creativity in that one. But I wanted to make sure that my teammates understood that this is not only about me, but about them. I mean, the reality is if Elmer Bennett's not throwing me lobs, Damon Sweet making sweet hook passes into the post, Keith Tower, when we're playing high-low situation, giving it to me, you don't achieve that. And I wanted those guys to know that exactly the way that I said it. When they bring their kids and grandchildren in here and they see that, they've all contributed to that. We did that together.
But it was a nice moment, not only today at halftime, but yesterday in front of the team when Mike Bray presented you with your actual ring for the Ring of Honor. You not only have a banner, but have a ring. And then you had a nice moment privately with the team. They all gathered around you. And don't want to ask you exactly what you said, but you talked about today's game, and clearly they listened.
Jay, I remember what it was like. We had a very talented team my senior year with 3 guys who played in the NBA, and we started out 1-5. Had a little team meeting. And after that team meeting, it was actually this time of the year, we're going out to the West Coast. Digger used to like to get us away from campus. We were playing against USC, LaSalle, and then North Carolina. The first and third being top 25 teams, and knocked off USC there. Beat LaSalle in the Palestra, beat North Carolina in the Garden, and that kind of propelled us into a successful season.
Well, I heard some of what you said, and you said back then you guys all got together and said what we have is enough, and you talked to them about the same thing.
Indeed.
Grady got a good look, and he buries a 3. And Kentucky had gone 0 for 10 from three-point land in the first half. Knocked that one down. You're under some pressure, Fonz. I know you've been a clutch guy, not only as a broadcaster, but certainly as a player at Notre Dame and in the NBA. But every time a Ring of Honor game has been played here, Notre Dame has won the thing. This is incredible. So you're up against it here.
There's no question about it. But I would love to say this one. I didn't get to say it to Jay Billis. Hey, Billis, was it a top 15 Kentucky team that they played against?
Yeah, I don't think they always play Kentucky in Ring of Honor games.
We were wondering about the scheduling too today. Kentucky on top 43-41 as we chat with a guy who's just an absolute gem for us at ESPN. And obviously the folks here at Notre Dame got to know him before we did. But I thought Kevin Connors had a great line about you today. He said, a lot of people ask, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? When Fonz asked you, he actually cares about the answer. It's true. I love that line because that typifies who you are.
Oh, Kevin's, he's a jewel. It's amazing what a crispy $100 bill will do for confidence.
The slam by Tshiebwe. You got to be impressed with his game.
Oh, it's funny, Jay. It's almost like he's grown up right before our eyes. We knew he was a tremendous rebounder. The ball just comes to him. But the poise that he's shown today in the post and the touch with his little hook shots off the glass have been impressive.
Yeah, he's really expanded his game to be able to take his range out to about 17 feet. He looks in total control of what he's doing.
Wesley looking to drive all the way through. Hung in the air. difficult angle, but he made it anyway.
He is going to be a big-time player here at Notre Dame.
Tshiebwe. Wheeler down the paint. Here's Washington Jr. Can't stick it. And a foul with 12:03 to go here in the second half. And on the big guy, that'll be number 1 on Tshiebwe.
Of the many impressive things that Notre Dame has done to hang in this game, the most impressive has been all the guards have rebounded. It hasn't just been the big guys having to slug it out. You know, Cormac Ryan, Dane Goodwin, Blake Wesley, they're all getting in there and getting their noses dirty around the basket on the defensive end.
Fonz, what are the plans after this game is wrapped up?
They have a little ceremony that starts at 7:15 tonight, and it'll actually give me a little bit of breathing room to thank so many more people. I'm just amazed today, OB, even with you all being here. So many of my ESPN folks and family are here, and to be able to celebrate God's goodness with all of you is just unreal.
Notre Dame racing down the floor and knocking it free. 45-43 our score. Fonz, such a treat to be here. We are so happy and proud of you. This was an amazing moment. Congratulations.
Thank you, OB. Appreciate you.
Fonz, you're going to be impossible to deal with now, aren't you?
Diva. Big time diva.
Week at ESPN, our partnership with the V Foundation, highlighting the urgent need for cancer research and the elimination of racial disparities in cancer outcomes. You can learn more and help support by visiting v.org/donate. 100% of your donation goes directly to cancer research.
Kentucky much more resolute in this second half to get the ball inside. A little cross screen down low between Tshiebwe and Brooks. And Brooks got the easy bucket down in the post.
Wesley, shot clock at 7. Buries a 3.
Got the switch with Tshiebwe on him rather than drive it. Decided to just step back and take that 3.
Wheeler, nifty bounce feed, but it's going to be knocked out of play by Notre Dame.
Boy, Wesley had his arm completely around Tshiebwe on that roll to the basket. Just a little roll pop action, and Wesley's just grabbing him, and the officials didn't even see it.
Kind of been the theme of this game. They really let them go. In the first half, hardly a foul was called. Wheeler's jumper, and he is hit while attempting a long one, a three-pointer.
Boy, the last guy you want to foul on a jump shot. You don't want to foul anybody on a jump shot, but Xavier Wheeler has not hit anything from out there. They've been begging him to take it, and now he's going to get free throws.
And he makes them. 92%. Wesley picking up number 2. Georgia transfer. Set the Georgia single season assist record, and he's leading D1 right now at about 8.5 a game.
Yeah, last year averaged over 6 a game and led the Southeastern Conference while a Georgia Bulldog.
And really good at the foul line to make it 49-46.
Notre Dame has to continue to cut hard to the basket. Those back cuts have been effective.
Wirtz gives it up for Goodwin.
They always go back cut into a ball screen or a handoff.
Ryan for Wesley. He'll drive it to the baseline. Shut down. Shot clock down. Play down to 5. Wirtz around the back. Wirtz airborne. Can't hit it. Another big rebound by Brooks.
Boy, it looked like Goodwin was going to get that, but Brooks just reached over the top with both hands.
Wheeler tough into the paint and hit on the play with exactly 10 minutes to go. And Wesley will pick up number 3. Now women's basketball coming your way. The Jimmy V Classic presented by Corona. Kentucky and Louisville, number 14 against number 7 on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Wheeler to the line. And Maryland and South Carolina Sunday at 3 p.m. on your home for women's college basketball, ESPN. Wheeler not there on that first one.
Well, that's a good doubleheader of women's basketball. Kentucky's led by Ryan Howard, averages 19 points, 7 rebounds. She has never beaten the University of Louisville. And Louisville is an excellent defensive team. And then Maryland taking on South Carolina. Leah Boston the best interior player in the country at both ends of the floor.
Kentucky on top 50-46 in a game, Jay, that is flying by.
Yeah, not a lot of fouls. That hadn't stopped the clock.
Goodwin looking to use the screen, driving the paint, off the window.
The ball movement, then getting the ball into the middle of the floor. Dane Goodwin has to continue to attack. He's got to be a big factor going down the last minutes of this game.
Mike Bray has had really good teams. They don't foul. They're usually way ahead on assists, and they shoot the ball very, very well. Well, that's a very difficult move by Tshiebwe. He'll draw the foul. 9:23 on the clock.
Notre Dame with this ball screen continuity. But this, just a simple ball screen in the slot, pick and pop, and Dane Goodwin able to turn the corner, get all the way to the basket on an angle. And Kentucky on the other end trying to run their offense more out of the middle of the floor. But when they got the ball into the post, Notre Dame came to double, but came on the high side, and that allowed Tshiebwe to go baseline.
Shooting a 1-and-1 and drops in the first one. The foul went on Atkinson. 21-6 for the Kentucky Star to this point.
Per 40 minutes, Oscar Tshiebwe's averaging 28 points a game, 23 rebounds, and 10 offensive rebounds.
Goodness
it's ridiculous.
Yes.
He had to play 40 minutes.
You saw him in the opener against Duke. Now they lost that game, but he hauled in 20 rebounds to set the tone for his season in the Garden.
And followed that up with another 20 rebounds in the next game. That's a career for most players.
Wirtz again with it. Shot clock to 6. Driving on Brooks. Got to get a shot in the air here. They zip it out. It's batted away. The shot clock at 1 as the basketball went into the Notre Dame bench.
So this is just a quick catch and shoot, or if they can get something going to the basket.
And a timeout. Notre Dame will take one. We'll take the break as well. Under 9 minutes to play here at South Bend. 52-48 Kentucky.
Notre Dame has done a good job defensively in this game, holding Kentucky to 52 points to this point, but they've had no answer for Oscar Tshiebwe. 22 points, 10 of 11 from the field for the transfer from West Virginia. He has been dominant inside with those 22 points. He also has 6 rebounds, 3 steals on the game. But it seems like every time Tshiebwe touches the ball, something good happens for Kentucky.
Closing in on his career high of 24 and closing in on another double-double. Just a handful of rebounds away from that, which would be his 8th. He also, by the way, just like our man Jay Billis, speaks 6 languages.
But mine is not. One of them is not English.
So here's Wirtz, who could not get the shot off in time. Didn't have any time to get a decent look. Had to kind of fling it up there, as you mentioned, with just 1 on the shot clock.
Tried to run a little back screen for Paul Atkinson, get a lob to him. But Kentucky defended that very well, made everything go out to the perimeter.
Tshiebwe with a long one for him. Front rimmed it.
Kentucky trying to run that action out of the middle of the floor. Got a little cross screen inside, and then Tshiebwe just rolled high. That's a shot he can make, but I think Notre Dame would prefer he pulls the trigger on that gets 2 feet in the paint down low. Good pass.
Krzyzewski from the corner. You can't ask for much of a better look than that.
No, that was a great look.
Brooks on the attack. He went airborne and drew the foul. Looking for a tomahawk slam. And fouled by Krzyzewski. It'll be number 2 on Nate Krzyzewski. Let's listen in on this one.
Just got that little bump from Krzyzewski. Knocked him off balance. I mean, Keon Brooks has a 7-foot wingspan and a 37-inch vertical. He's really been the best leader, I think, for this Kentucky team.
Well, he certainly was here in the first half. He set the tone for the Wildcats in the opening minutes anyway, as 11 points. And we'll look to shoot again here with 8:07 to go.
Well, you mentioned it in the first half, I think, Dave. He's really worked on his shooting mechanics, a much higher release on that shot.
53-48. The Cats in front and pressing. Bryan will bring it across. Wirtz, yes. Boy, that's a very confident looking shot.
A wide open step in three. Just lost him on that replace up action, and Notre Dame cannot ask for a better shot than that. Run out that little floppy action, then the cross screen into the high-low.
That somehow got inside of the big guy, Tshiebwe, and he'll draw the foul. And a 53-51 lead for Kentucky.
Trey Wirtz, the transfer from Santa Clara, just a little bit too much confusion from from the Kentucky defense, and Wirtz can't ask for a more wide open shot.
Hey, who do you like for the Heisman tonight at 8 Eastern, the 87th annual Heisman Trophy ceremony? Alabama quarterback Bryce Young, Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud, Pitt's quarterback Kenny Pickett, and Michigan defensive end Aiden Hutchinson, all up for the award. 2011 Heisman winner Robert Griffin III will announce the winner. Who do you like?
I like Bryce Young to take home the Heisman, with Aiden Hutchinson second. Not many defensive players have won the Heisman, but I think Charles Woodson was the last, right, from Michigan. Aiden Hutchinson would be a good choice, but I think Bryce Young's going to take it home.
They've all had great years. Of course, Bryce Young with that outstanding performance against Georgia maybe put him over the top. Tshiebwe back at the line where he makes 71%. Meanwhile, Notre Dame goes back to bring Dane Goodwin into the contest, their top scorer at 14 and 5 rebounds. Hub hitting the bench.
You have to think when Kentucky's on offense, they're going to continue to run that same play, that little floppy action with two big guys on the block, and then Kellen Grady getting to choose which side he comes off, or Ty Washington, one of the two, and then they run a little cross screen to try to get the ball into the post.
Wirtz. Here's Goodwin. Goodwin's very dangerous beyond that three-point line, 42%.
He's got Brooks on him. That's some additional size.
Atkinson. Nice feed, and rolling in is Goodwin.
Just a great cut by Dane Goodwin. Atkinson drew a double team. Goodwin cut right to the rim, got the pass. That's beautiful basketball.
1 point game, less than 7 minutes to go. Left open, Wheeler. That clangs away, and Ryan grabs the rebound.
That's the shot that Notre Dame wants Kentucky to take. And Kentucky keeps taking it. They were so effective getting the ball inside.
Of course, the three-point line's been deadly for the Wildcats. They're 1 for 50. Goodwin again. Great denied defense by Brooks.
That's where that length is so difficult to go against. Watch Goodwin here as Brooks turns his head and goes into double. Goodwin just cuts right past him all the way to the rim. That's a great read by Dane Goodwin.
Notre Dame looking to take the lead. Ryan, determined drive, and Atkinson hits the shot.
Well, that was almost Steve Nash-like in keeping his dribble, and this crowd is alive.
And Kentucky with a timeout. 6:05 to go, and Notre Dame has surged in front of Kentucky. Well, Cal taking the timeout there. 1 point lead for Notre Dame.
Well, Kentucky had great success. Watch this drive by Cormac Ryan, but kept his dribble alive all the way to the baseline. Just a beautiful bounce pass feed to Ball Atkinson. Drew Tshiebwe just a little bit late getting there. Kellen Grady didn't close up the front of the rim. Anytime there's a drive, you want to get to the front of the rim. And Notre Dame in a great position going down the stretch. This is exactly what Mike Murray wanted, to be within shouting distance down the stretch.
And Jay, Kentucky without a field goal in over 5 minutes.
Well, the last several possessions, Dave, they've not gone inside. And I think this is where they have to go now. Get the ball inside to Brooks or Tshiebwe.
Washington spinning and a charge. Offensive foul on Ty Washington. His third.
Washington caught the ball right around the elbow for a little isolation. And Cormac Ryan, I don't know about that one. I don't know. But that's college basketball. You know, the default call is always a charge when it should be a block.
Big momentum here for the Fighting Irish on their home floor. Cormac Ryan. Here's Wirtz. Shot clock at 4. He took a peek at it, drives it, and can't finish. Knocked out of bounds. He'll stay here. 5:25 going tomorrow afternoon. We feature the top 6 college basketball matchup. Villanova in Waco to take an undefeated #2 Baylor. And Purdue with their loss on Thursday night means Baylor would jump to the top spot with a victory.
With all that Baylor lost. Great cut by Wesley. Kentucky fell asleep on the weak side. Wesley took advantage of it.
Up top, Brooks launching. Wesley cradling the rebound.
When Kentucky goes high-low, you have to look at the low. That's Tshiebwe. Let him touch it. Boy, Notre Dame's playing with really good rhythm right now.
On the bounce feed, Atkinson. Came off that backboard pretty ugly. It'll go the other way for Kentucky.
Now take a look at the bottom left corner of the screen. Blake Wesley, it's going to be on the right for you, but Blake Wesley just runs right past Xavier Wheeler, who had no idea where he was. And Notre Dame gets an easy bucket off out of bounds underneath. My left, your right, whatever.
4:32 to play. Mintz gives it up for Grady. Tshiebwe out of the double. Down to 3 as he heaves it up there and almost went by Mintz. But Notre Dame again winning the battle of the glass.
Because the guards are down there. Dane Goodwin saved that ball from going out of bounds. But you had 3 Notre Dame guards down there rebounding to help out the big guys.
Been a huge part of the storyline, how effective Notre Dame has been against a great rebounding Kentucky team. Ryan, nice give for Goodwin.
Notre Dame is just cutting up Kentucky right now with great cuts to the basket.
Trying to pick off a top 10 opponent. 3.5 minutes to get it done. Washington inside for Tshiebwe. Yes, boy, did they need that basket.
There is no reason for Oscar Tshiebwe not to touch the ball more in the half court.
He now has a career high 25, Jay. On the drive, very determined effort there by Wirtz, and he draws the foul. Time running down, 3:14 to go. Notre Dame 59, Kentucky 56 here at South Bend, Indiana.
Notre Dame has the lead in this basketball game because of the smart basket cuts they have made. Whenever the ball goes into the post or off the drive, Notre Dame has been presenting themselves as receivers. The excellent cut off out of bounds under by Blake Wesley, and the Irish with the lead. Beautiful cut here by Dane Goodwin. He's done a lot of that. The movement without the ball has been really impressive by the Irish.
Yeah, some beautiful basketball. despite the fact that Tshiebwe has put in a career-high 25. Wirtz at the line shooting 2 as the Irish extend their lead. We talked about that tough loss they took in the Maui Invitational of St. Mary's. They lost a close one to Texas A&M by 6. They're blown out by Boston College 73-57. So how big would this win be?
I think it would give Notre Dame some mojo back. This team is much better than it has played through the course of this season.
Washington gives up the basketball here to Brooks. Grady beyond the 3 where he's very good. Baseline shut down. Brooks off the fake. 5 to get off a shot. On the baseline, that's going to go down by Mintz. Terrific move, and he's at the line.
Smart play as the clock was winding down. A lot of poise from Mintz. Catches the ball. It was the shot fake that made the play. If Trey Wirtz stays down on that shot, Notre Dame probably gets a stop.
Atkinson with his 3rd foul. So keep an eye on that with 2:47 to go. Mintz, a 67% foul shooter, looking for a 3-point play. And gets it.
Boy, that is a big 3-point play for Mintz.
61-59. Ryan slowing down the tempo. That's what Notre Dame wants to do. They have a game probably going to be in the 60s. Here's Wirtz. Takes a bump. Stolen away by Brooks. Kentucky forcing the turnover.
Give it to Tshiebwe.
He gets it. Downstairs. Can't maneuver. Here's Grady. A 3 coming. No. Tshiebwe grabs the rebound.
Is there any available rebound he doesn't get? There have been so many great rebounds by the Irish guards.
2 minutes to play.
Tshiebwe's open.
Washington gave up his dribble. Shot clock a factor. Down to 1. Grady with a heave. He hit it. A 3-pointer on target.
Maybe the toughest 3 that Kentucky has had all game long. And Grady nails it.
Wow. Did he ever. And they've been terrible beyond that 3-point line in the game. But you talk about clutch. They have the lead back.
For the last 2 possessions, Notre Dame has played 59 seconds of excellent defense, but 6 points for Kentucky out of those possessions.
Kentucky, Jay, has made only 2 3-pointers all night long, 2 out of 18. But that heave, with the shot clock winding down, 62-61. Grady nailing that shot. He's 42% out there.
Just a huge play by Kellen Grady, the transfer who scored over 2,000 points in his career. Saw the clock was winding down. Trey Wirtz could not have defended it any better. Sometimes great offense beats great defense.
Most of his shots come beyond the 3-point line. He's their best 3-point shooter. As you mentioned, the transfer from Davidson, where he scored over 2,000 points in his career. He averaged 17 points a game.
Well, he's got terrific size as well. He's 6'5", moves really well without the ball. But that was just a great individual play against very good defense.
So the officials over to the monitor. They're checking the clock after the inbound, so that's what they're looking at. This is a clock review, not whether that was a 3-pointer. Clearly was. So Kentucky leads it 62-61. Down the stretch we come. Last year, a wild game in Lexington. Notre Dame built a 24-point lead, almost lost the game, but hung on at the very end to pull out the win at Lexington. Notre Dame, their last win against the top 10 back in 2017 against Wichita State, then number 6. So
the officials,
43 to go.
Yeah, the officials just came over to say what they were looking at, and you were exactly on it. That they're looking at the clock as to exactly when it should have stopped on the timeout. Although I wouldn't have faulted them if they wanted to see that shot by Kellen Grady again. It was so good. I want another look at it.
A mini 6-0 run here for Kentucky to retake the lead in a game that has been on the seesaw back and forth throughout the evening here in South Bend, Indiana.
And it's a smart timeout, I think, by Mike Brey to get his team together so they know exactly what they want to run down the stretch, because that three was a gut punch, and so now they have to get off the deck and make a play.
Notre Dame, by the way, has been away from South Bend for 25 days between Maui, which was played in Las Vegas this year, the ACC Big Ten Challenge at Illinois, and their ACC opener at Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. So the game clock is going to change to 1:41. So they reset the clock to 1:41 and the shot clock to 22 seconds. Yeah, Notre Dame to check it in. Trey Wirtz to do it. Here's Wesley.
Kentucky's done a good job of getting out in passing lanes to make passes difficult.
Goodwin downstairs, bouncing it, trying to make a move and swatted away, but a foul. Brooks all over him, and can't believe there was a foul on the play. It was on Keon Brooks.
Well, Goodwin is good in the post. Nice drop step move to try to get an angle to the basket. Just backed him in, and it didn't look like a lot of contact.
Well, it sure didn't. Looked like an outstanding defensive play. Puts Goodwin at the line, though.
He's our best free throw shooter, 94%.
Outstanding at the line, and continues to prove that. Goodwin, the senior out of Upper Arlington, Ohio.
Really a question for Notre Dame now is what are they going to do with Tshiebwe in the post? Do they double him on the catch?
Goodwin, a rare miss. Washington nearly gave it up. Here's Grady, and that spins in and out.
Boy, that was a great play by Kentucky. A little fade screen opposite to get Grady wide open.
Ryan. Under a minute to play. Wirtz with it. Tied at 62. Wesley on the move. Slams on it. Breaks and he threw it away.
Had Tshiebwe right on him. Had thought about launching up the shot, but Tshiebwe discouraged it. Tried to get it to Leshevsky. Good job by Davion Mintz to come over and stop that drive and still recover.
Timeout, Kentucky. And a little over 21-second split between the game and shot clock in a 62-62 game.
I don't think there's anywhere to go except the Tshiebwe. Get the ball down low and put Notre Dame in a position to foul. He has been so effective, and he has been open. You know, that last play that Kentucky ran, that little fade screen to get Kellen Grady wide open in the corner, was really well executed, almost dropped down, but I still think you go into Tshiebwe.
Who's had himself a night, 26 points. That's a new career high for Oscar. 25 points, 11 for 13, 7 rebounds. As mentioned, a new career high for the big fella. So let's see if they go inside to number 34. It would make all the sense in the world here with 51 seconds to go.
He's being guarded by Nate Leshevsky, who is big and strong, but I would still give the advantage to Tshiebwe.
Grady outside. Tshiebwe in low. Maneuvering off the window. It won't drop for him, and Notre Dame has the rebound.
Cormac Ryan knocked that to Wesley. The Notre Dame guards are doing a great job on the glass.
And the Fighting Irish will take a timeout with 28 seconds to go.
John Calipari asking the officials, why wasn't that a foul, considering it was on the other end against Goodwin? And when you get hit with the body as you're going up, that's what Calipari was asking for. But right now, Notre Dame 23 seconds on the shot clock, 28 on the game clock, 5-second spread. But the Irish do not need to be in a rush.
Well, Notre Dame has won every time. All 9 times they have had a Ring of Honor day, as they did today for our colleague LaFonso Ellis. They haven't played Kentucky in one of those games until this one.
Well, LaFonso Ellis talked to the Notre Dame team yesterday, and one of the things he said was, make Kentucky feel you. Be aggressive, be physical, and Notre Dame has been that, especially on the glass. Like, who would have predicted that a Kentucky team out-rebounding their opponents by 19 a game, that Notre Dame would essentially be even on the glass in this game?
Well, it's been almost 3.5 minutes, however, since Notre Dame hit a field goal. 28 seconds to play, 23 on the shot clock.
Shot fakes and ball fakes will be very effective here in this last possession.
Here's Wirtz with a huge shot in the ACC tournament for a game winner. Goodwin. Wesley. 11 to get off a shot. Pull-up jumper. He hits it! Washington down the lane. Spins it up. It won't go. Notre Dame with a rebound. Wesley has it. Feeds out in front for Goodwin, and he will dunk it down the ball game. And the victory for the Fighting Irish as they storm the floor. Notre Dame wins it 64-62 over Kentucky. So they will count that last basket to make the final score 66-62. And Goodwin being mobbed. It's going to be tough for these guys to get off the floor.
I don't think they want to. Boy, Blake Wesley with a huge jumper around the free throw line to put Notre Dame up and made the stop. And what sealed it? A rebound by Paul Atkinson. The work that Notre Dame did on the glass will ultimately be the reason that the Irish won this game.
So now we're being told of checking that final shot, whether the dunk counted or not. It was immaterial in the end because of Blake Wesley hitting that shot. The kid from South Bend, the freshman, drained it.
Blake Wesley making an individual play. Dane Goodwin just goes out of that ball screen. He pulls up on Mintz, held the follow through and knocked it down. But just as important as that was the final stop and the rebound. Difficult shot by Ty Washington to end it, but just a beautiful shot. Blake Wesley is an outstanding freshman that is going to be a great player. Here's the final shot by Kentucky. Ty Washington, and then the rebound by Paul Atkinson. Fitting that a defensive rebound would end this for Notre Dame.
And checking to see if this basket counted by Goodwin rising up right at the horn.
I think it counts. Maybe somebody in the desert cares, but nobody in South Bend does.
Well, what a victory for the Fighting Irish. They pull it out. And the freshman Wesley, the local kid, making good to knock off number 10 Kentucky in a thriller here in South Bend. And Jay, heck of a basketball game.
Just a great game, and give a lot of credit to Notre Dame. It was a team effort on the glass. And LaFonso Ellis told the team, make them feel you. And Kentucky felt the Irish on the glass all game long. For Notre Dame to out-rebound Kentucky, that was the difference in winning and losing against a top 10 team here in South Bend.
In the end, the dunk counted, and that's the final, 66-62. Notre Dame wins it Sports Center is coming up in just a moment. Jay, a final thought.
Just a